On between Aurora and NGX. Sunfin here with Cinder Meister.
That's right.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
You know what? Let's not beat around the bush here, Shannon.
Okay.
I think Nigma are in trouble.
Okay.
As much as the panel were loving Aurora's draft versus what Nigma have, I love it even more. So I will be equally impressed with that narrative if Nigma Galaxy managed to win this game. Or, honestly, if I can be so blunt, if they managed to make it competitive, I would already be impressed.
Okay.
I think we've cast 4 games yesterday, and this is our first one today. Out of those 5 games, to me, personally, this is the most one-sided draft for this patch that I've seen out of this tournament. So
on day 2, that's a big
I mean, there were also other games yesterday, right?
Big proclamation from Cinder in here.
The thing about that, too, though, is that if I'm right about that, and if the panel is right about that, then Aurora also should just show up, right? And make this a one-sided affair, if we are right in our breakdowns of this. But let's see. So
how often would you say that you are right, Cinder? And it's Nightfall.
Yep.
Getting gone on to start the game. Not really too close to any teammates. Is this actually going to be enough damage? Kiyotaka is the target for the Phantom Strike, and well, Nightfall starting out the game with 10% HP, not ideal.
Yeah, and he's HP's to lane, so
okay.
he's gonna need some regen immediately. He will be given that, of course, by his good old friend Panto. All right, let's look at how, because like Misery was talking about, one of the ways that Nigma Galaxy can make this work is by getting really farmed on the Tinker, and by trying to play a slow game and playing keep away. The issue I have with that is that I think Nigma Galaxy's games are the best when they want to fight, and when Ghost can really take initiative in the game and play an aggressive carry. When he plays an incredibly good lifestealer, this is one of his best heroes, but for this patch and for how the teams in general are playing, I really like seeing him on a hero like we saw yesterday on something like a Gyro or a Morphling, where you get involved and fight at least semi-early. Lifestealer to me is a hero that needs a lot of AFK time and is very core-to-core matchup dependent, but the problem is he didn't end up playing against a carry Tiny. It looked like Nigma kind of were just assuming this was a carry Tiny from the get-go, and then obviously it got pivoted in the end to mid, and now he has the PA matchup, which is way less appealing.
Yeah. Well, the mid lane, like you talked about, Tiny versus Kunkka.
Yep.
Are you expecting this to go one way or another? Both pretty tanky.
It's generally this lane goes pretty evenly, I would say. If anybody is to inch out an advantage here, it's probably going to be Sumail off of... I think Kunkka does a little bit better than Tiny, especially when you hit level 3 and level 5 for the higher levels in Tidebringer. But also just Sumail his lane mechanics are exceptional.
Nope. Looks like he's going to drop, although gets the Burrow Strike off first, and that's first blood for Yamich.
Nice counterplay there.
The Panto and Noob will actually survive. Mira drops on the other side, so Cinder and said it's going to be an easy one for Aurora, and they're off to a 0-2 start.
You know what? If I can curse Aurora into losing this game, I will be proud. And I will also be very happy for Nigma Galaxy on getting a win here. Obviously, it's a team that a lot of people want to see do well. We're still looking for that true, how to say, back to the old days of glory result or tournament from them. Obviously, especially... I would say especially, who do you think has the most fans in this team? I think it's GH or Sumail. I'm not sure who, if you had to pick, but GH is kind of, you know...
I can't tell if you're kidding.
Huh?
Are you kidding?
Okay, so...
It's not close.
Okay, it's Sumail.
Yeah.
But...
Okay.
Okay, let's rephrase this.
All right, thank you.
Is there anybody that is more universally liked by the community in the pro scene than GH?
No, absolutely not. He's amazing.
So his, how to say,
awesome.
There's no polarization. Everybody just thinks GH is a...
Yeah, if you think otherwise, you're a psychopath. As Noob, inside of the Lotus area, gets off the Burrow Strike, but will fall shortly after. So Nightfall and Panto successful in that engagement, and that puts 1 kill on the board for Aurora. So, sorry, I actually missed the entire point of what you were talking about. Why were you bringing that up? Is Mira slowed here?
Nice Funhouse Mirror dodge on the last word damage.
Gets off the open wounds from Ghost, though he's going to continue on here. Already has the HP from the first kill he got, which is always, it feels good for Lifestealer players.
I don't really remember the conversation anymore, so I don't think it was important.
Nobody does.
I don't know why you would loop back around to it. You didn't care to begin with. You're just pretending.
That's true, actually.
Yep.
You know me too well.
That's right.
GH and Mira having a 1v1 support battle for the ages, and GH will win that and get extra int as a result.
Yep.
The brain drain has begun. They should just rename that to brain rot. I think that's more fitting for the scene that we're all in.
Yep.
Plenty of players have brain rot just without playing Dota.
Yeah, I was going to say you need a special type of brain rot to play Silencer, but you actually don't. I don't think that hero is particularly... You know, there's like a type of heroes that just has a type of player on them. Silencer is not one of the ones that falls into the category of, you know.
Well, that's the thing. We talked about the facet, how great it is. If there was that type of a player, they would be picking him without the good facet, right? And that is just not the case. Still waiting for the carry Silencer with the other facet, though, where you cannot be silenced. Really strong.
Really strong.
Really good.
Say that. Try to say it without laughing.
And the whip was
big
actually
damage.
Mira's still going to get completely zoned out. We'll get the whoopee cushion to the low ground.
Almost
the
cushioned too
curse.
early there.
Yeah, that was a close one. He's got this calculated,
the
though.
creep wave is still following him.
Better be careful, young man.
Well,
Sumail won't be able to connect in all likelihood.
So in that trade, GH really leveraging the fact that he had the creep wave advantage on his side, just helping him out. Oh my god, he's actually going to chase him down and kill him.
He actually
Mira's
is.
in disbelief here.
That is insane. More brain rot
Really well
in
done.
favor of GH.
Nicely done. Yeah. He's very much so pressuring this Ringmaster in this top lane. I'm very impressed so far.
Let me
at the
ask you
same
a question.
time,
Go ahead and continue your thought process, because I know you can't do more than one thing at a time.
That's okay.
You forgot what you were
No.
gonna say.
I'm wondering if Mira is a little bit autopiloting here, because as Ringmaster you're used to, I am the boss position 4, I will fight the 5.
Yeah.
But Silencer is actually one of the very few 5s that can take you on in that 1v1 fight. And he's overplaying his hand a little bit. He's 0-3. This is pretty uncharacteristic for Mira minute 6.
Yeah, that's true.
That he has multiple deaths. And it's not because he's been like surprised or rotated on, or, you know, it's kind of just lost to GH.
Oh, nice dual breath on him too. Nightfall feels like he's been on low HP the entire laning stage, thanks to that early engagement.
Nope.
But his CS has not suffered Cinderant. Second overall in the game, top of his team. Which is really good news for Aurora fans. And on the other side, the Lifestealer, Mr. Ghost. Despite getting that kill, 21 and 5 CS is the lowest of all the cores right now.
Yeah, there's just a lot of denies on the Magnus. What can you say? You're playing at an inherent massive disadvantage in terms of CSing, right? The Magnus has currently 120 damage, and you have 68. It's not fair, you know? This is not...
Yeah, Lifestealer hits pretty softly at the beginning of the game, for sure.
And if nothing else, this is what Mira accomplished top by fighting GH the whole time. Is that Toronto-Tokyo got to more or less play a 1v1 against Lifestealer, and Magnus is going to win that every time on just raw CS. You just can't. You can't compete with the level 3 in power.
Yep.
Nope.
He's found out.
Wave.
Dust applied as Mira going to miss the knife, but the whip is there. Finally getting something on the board for himself. Ghost in the meantime with the help of GH onto Toronto-Tokyo. He does have Skewer, which he will expend. But Ghost doing a nice job of creating some good space here.
Yeah, they got to pressure him as soon as Mira shows for that kill bottom. You can't let Magnus hit a creep after that. Just bully him away in your 2v1 situation. Leveraging the numbers. And this will give Ghost some nice me time up here on the Lifestealer. This hero, as we established, it needs time. I found this hero in general to actually be very underwhelming for a while, but it did start to pick up some steam in 738.
The Ag,
especially because of some core matchups. But yeah, you don't have that core matchup in this game that you were hoping for, right?
Yeah, it feels like he's been used a lot as anti-carry almost.
Yes, exactly.
And then the Ags doesn't disarm anymore, so that is a huge loss for Lifestealer players. It did feel kind of random as a design choice for him. So once it got too strong, they nixed it. Now he does more damage essentially because he lasts a little bit longer in there. Or no, sorry, he just gets more hits off.
Yep.
So going for like these raw damage items for the late game end up feeling a lot better. If you do go the Ags route at some point.
Yeah, that's the thing though, right? I feel like most of the time we don't even see Lifestealer buy the item anymore.
Yeah, it feels like a fourth, maybe fifth item in a lot of these games.
Because you need to... The games in which you pick this hero, you pick it specifically, like you said, as a core-to-core matchup against a hero like Tiny, if you were expecting that to be carry. Then you're investing all of your net worth into how am I going to destroy Tiny in fights. And that's not going to be the Ags most of the time. It's just going to be being tanky and hitting harder consistently. So items like AC or no crits or whatnot.
Kiyotaka, the Ava toss onto the Tinker, back into the arms of Nightfall. Panto gets that one, but nice pick off for Aurora. Yeah, I think the Lifestealer versus PA matchup without that Ags disarm feels pretty bad these days.
Pretty one-sided, honestly.
I feel like it's, I mean, Lifestealer does not really want to go MKB generally.
He's going to have to, though.
But he has to, as like a third, fourth item.
He's going to have to go that or Bloodthorn, but the problem with Bloodthorn is it's just not reliable enough anymore, I think, to... Because in this game, PA can probably hold her BKB quite long. Because what's going to kill her except the Lifestealer once she gets to a later portion?
GH casually taken out by Kiyotaka. Sumail, though, finds a support in the form of Mira. It'll be a trade.
Cool little interaction there.
Now.
The X mark. Oh, hang on. Let's see if Kiyotaka can play his way out of this one.
Yeah, well, Ghost doesn't do much damage, so...
Unless they get another X.
And the Avalanche, just for safety measure, we'll get to the high ground.
So the Escape Act box has a maximum reach. As soon as you move 500 units away from the original location of the box, it breaks. So Sumail actually pulled him out of Escape Act with X mark, which is kind of interesting. Could maybe come into play later against a situation where you maybe try to save a core on Ringmaster. In addition to that, Sumail also managed to steal the enemy stacks on the hard camp. This is what largely is pulling him ahead right now. By a few hundred over the Tiny was that stack.
Yeah, he's having a very good start to this game. In fact, the only member, I would say, of NGX off to a good start. Goes for the Blade Mail, so wants to get active pretty early. We've been seeing, what was Blade Mail into Radiance in the last time we cut. Are you expecting the same type of build here?
Yeah, probably. It's just
so what's the build from Lifestealer these days? If it's not Armlet Radiance.
I mean, we've seen some Armlet SNY builds. We've seen Armlet Deso sometimes. We've seen Armlet Radiance. But yeah, like you said, if the Kunkka is going Radiance, you are not. So in this game...
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
I don't know. That's what's a little bit tough for me in this one, is that if you get Deso, you're only really getting it for yourself and a little bit of Kunkka damage. You don't have this, like, hell yeah, my offlaner is going to love that I have minus armor.
Yeah. It feels like Deso and then having to go MKB later is a lot of the same.
I mean, can you go Armlet MKB? Is that a thing?
It's a bit weird, but you might have to, because...
Armlet BKB MKB maybe? Well, so you have staying power?
I think SNY you have to get this game, right? Because BKB is not going to do it all with the RP at the ready.
Yeah, he's queuing up Radiance, so maybe the Kunkka just doesn't get it then.
Okay.
I'm also okay with that solution, and then Sumail will go a different route. I'm curious to see what he's going to buy then. Panto will get spotted.
In the trees.
And
will be. Ice Path onto both targets, though. This should be inevitable. As Kiyotaka takes out Yamich. Actually, Macropyre is going to go off along with the Global Silence, and looks like the Jakiro and company will have to exit. As one kill for NGX here. They're going to get a second in the form of Mira, so Sumail with a double. Now the Avalanche from Kiyotaka. This will be a big, big kill for Aurora if they're able to get it, and they should be able to in a 3 versus 1. So killing spree ended for Sumail.
That honestly was a decent outcome for Nigma Galaxy, I would say. Sure, Sumail ends up dying in the end, but Ghost is completely free farming top and taking the tier 1 tower and forcing a TP rotation from Jakiro, which is not going to defend this, by the way, mind you. That's a solid overall outcome for them, for sure. I think this is the ideal thing that can happen in the game right now for Nigma Galaxy, is that Sumail gets very active and they try to play off of GH's good start with an early Global Silence and try to find some fights when they can. Because they know Ghost is going to be AFK up here for another 10 minutes because he's Lifestealer and therefore he's AFK. I have my own personal biases against playing with this hero. It's very... Sometimes it can be a bit frustrating. You just know you have to wait.
Yeah, I've never heard you so angry talking about something.
Maybe that's a... If this is me being angry, I'm a very peaceful person.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty true, but...
Unless you're playing World of Warcraft, of course.
Okay, then I get really upset, apparently. Fair enough. Still nothing in the quick buy for Sumail. I'm still wondering what he's gonna go for here. Is he gonna rush something like a Shiva's? Is he gonna go? I don't think Eggs is really on the table here, but
that is a nice stack though. Kiyotaka getting most of these.
Tiny with Empower as well. It's just
they have 2 good targets. And Kiyotaka, you can see his net worth is by far #1 at the moment, and this is one of the scariest heroes to go up against when they start to snowball. But overall, still only a 1K lead for Aurora at the moment.
oh, nice find here for Nigma Galaxy potentially. They'll find Nightfall bottom. They'll use global
silence. Nightfall is dead.
Well
TP's coming in.
Yes.
Will they be able to get anyone? GH with the TP. Noob looks to be the sacrifice, but well worth it for NGX.
Without a doubt. I think that was...
Force out all these TPs as well.
Exactly. You trade Sand King for PA plus, was that 3 TPs? I think all 3 of them ported down here, actually. A bit of maybe a defensive over-rotation, you could argue, from Aurora. But in the heat of the moment, you're just going to bring people there to try to salvage the situation. Yeah, another little win here for Nigma Galaxy, but in spite of these early plays going quite well, they are still trailing a little bit on the net worth, and that is concerning against Mag PA. This is a hero combination you kind of want to try to beat early, or at least in the mid-game, before PA truly takes off. And if you're also not going to get the Tormentor here, if Aurora make a move, they will.
Oh, RP from Toronto, Tokyo into Nightfall's arm. Panto again takes the kill. We've been seeing a lot of supports just casually get a kill just by accident, but they'll take it either way.
Oh, Yamich,
Avalanche on the Yamich.
Toss.
Gets tossed back. Ice Path is there as well. Boat coming in, only hits the 1, but this is a really important target. The box saving the Tiny for the time being. Kiyotaka getting saved with the whip as well, and now you can see Nightfall just going ham on the back line. Gets 1, and they have so much to work with. Rage forced out from Ghost. Looking for a potential infest target into Sumail. They'll get away, but Aurora getting pretty much everything they wanted.
3 kills and a Tormentor. Pretty good result here. Who are you hoping for the shard on? Probably... I guess you'd rather have the Jakiro one in general, but he only has level 1 Liquid Fire for now. It's still nice to be able to cast both of them, even if it's only level 1. But yeah, rather uncharacteristic here. Panto is maxing Ice Path. Most Jakiros we've been seeing have been maxing out Liquid Fire. So I wonder what the rationale is here, because this is not even an obvious Ice Path game since the enemy carries Lifestealer, and you're playing against Global Silence as well, so maybe you can't combo effectively. So I'd be curious to hear what the logic is behind that in this particular game.
Oh, Nightfall. He's found again. They're going to use the epicenter. They're going to use everything that they can because that is a very important kill again for NGX. Of course, he has his Battle Fury on the PA, but I think he's going SNY as a secondary item.
If he were... No, he's going BKB.
Okay, he changed it up.
He has the maybe he just bought the hammer after you said that, probably. Guess he's tired of getting killed. I can respect that.
Yeah, I mean, this is mandated. Like, BKB's mandatory.
Yeah, he has to get that anyway. I don't think there's any point in buying SNY in this game, actually. You want to get 1 good burst off during RP and just kill heroes. And you know you have extra damage coming in from Empower, so you can... Theoretically, you can go for a little bit, a slightly more defensive build in general when you have Mag in your team. I think BKB is solid, and I think you shouldn't buy Sanjin Yasha at all this game. I think you just get BKB and then you go for bigger items. Some like true late game value. GH and Kiyotaka, this is not a fair fight.
Casual silencer here, trying to die to the Polywogs, but the toss should finish the job. Kiyotaka with a nice solo kill, and of course Ghost still... Oh, he really needs this Sacred Relic. He's so close to finding it, but he's going to find his way to the grave first. Only loses about 200. Actually, a lot less than I thought.
But
still, that's 38 seconds of not getting farm for the eventual Radiance.
That's the thing about these kills. You look at the numbers, you're like, oh, he only lost 200 and PA only gained 200. That's not a 400 gold kill. It's the 40 seconds that you're dead plus the travel time to get to the next camp is probably a minute. And if you GPM at this point in the game is like 500 or 600, then all of a sudden that kill is worth 1,000 gold rather than the 400. So Makes a really, really big difference to find these cores early. And it is the reason that Nightfall isn't completely crushing this game in terms of net worth, is the fact that Nigma managed to kill him twice. Otherwise, he would have easily had his BKB already. See him only being 600 shy of it at this point.
Dire are scanning.
And you know, we talked pre-game about how this is going to be a rough one for Nigma Galaxy off of overall draft. I think the hardest part is yet to come, and they are still already behind.
Yeah.
In this stage of the game, when PA gets BKB, you can literally just Magnus can just take his target and they kill it, and I don't think Nigma can really counterplay it very easily. You can blink RP. You don't even need to skewer them back if PA is close, because PA herself has a built-in blink to follow through. So the skewer is not necessary compared to other carries that you need to bring the hero to. So I would love to see Nigma Galaxy try to honestly press the issue at the moment they get Radiant and just try to fight their way back in the game. Because I think farming is not winning this game.
Yep, Noob found out. Gets off the blink, but Kiyotaka has a blink of his own. Another valuable kill going the way of Aurora, as Kiyotaka let Mira have that one, actually. Very unusual for a core. Mira seems to really run a tight ship here for Aurora.
Speaking of
ships, that is a shark ship onto Panto. Is he going to actually survive this? The RP from Toronto Tokyo onto 2. Skewer next to their tier 1 towers. The TPs come in. Global Silence follows suit. GH is the trade. So far, just the support for support. As the Avalanche now from Kiyotaka finds the Tinker as Roche is going to throw him, but Nightfall gets the last hit. Roche really hungry for a kill. Not going to happen this time. Tier 1 tower for Aurora. 7K lead.
I don't think I've ever seen this before. I mean, it's also a new feature, but he died while Roche had him in his hand. I think the model just disappeared.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to click with those hitboxes, Cinderman. And they find another pickoff onto Noob, who's now in Struggle City. Bottom net worth for cores. You see the Roche replay. Let's see. Yeah, at this stage, you just hope that you've clicked on him beforehand. Well, the Radiance is online for NGX, but their Roche will be gone. I say their Roche. It's a neutral. It's our Roche.
Yep.
So likely...
it's so tough to contest this without Sanking, but they're
going to try. Company will actually want to try for this. The boat is coming in. Nightfall takes the Aegis. They get the Roche as well. And that's a newly picked up BKB from Nightfall. As Toronto Tokyo kind of stuck into the pit right now. Will skewer away, but he's going to take 2 members of NGX with him. He actually might live through this as the Wheel of Wonder is going to be placed. A beautiful whip from Mira as well. They're actually losing nobody on Aurora. That is insane. That was such a sick whip. And Aurora get away with murder, and the Aegis still on Nightfall.
Yeah.
I actually didn't notice. Did Nightfall just BKB TP? Or did he actually fight there?
He did fight with his BKB.
He fought initially.
Yeah. He didn't TP at all, I think. I think he's just run over here. His TP is ready, so...
It's almost, casting him is quite the wonder.
Yeah.
Just assume things at this point. He could get a rampage. Like, did he BKB TP? Looks like he is going for the SNY.
If you think about the fight we just saw, Misery talked about this during the draft, that his concern for Nigma is how do they kill a hero without Epi? And that's kind of what happened exactly there. Sand King was dead. Aurora in the pit. Sumail goes in, casts all his stuff, goes in with his Shiva, and people just leave. They get boxed, or they skewer out, or they blink out. Just some serious damage issues here when Noob is on the sidelines, so gotta make sure your Sand King gets caught less. He's got 6 deaths so far. He needs to get that Ags. It's almost there. That'll be a massive damage upgrade, but you still gotta kill people outside of the BKBs. You're not killing them in.
Avalanche into the ice path with the Global Silence to save Ghost. Using that in just a purely defensive way feels pretty bad. Now he'll have to infest a creep and exit. That's a big cooldown. Aurora can certainly take advantage. They're going to smoke up and look for a fight immediately. Kill that Aegis for 3 minutes.
This is a 3-man move. Their other 2 heroes are far, far away.
Oh, I think they heard an infest here. Nope, they're going to go for Noob on the Sand King. Feels like we've seen this a time or two this game. Oh, he gets to the high ground. The Sumail is waiting for them as well. Ghost Ship is coming. Noob, he's going to eventually tick out. Oh, did I say that? RP onto 2 in a very awkward spot in the corner. And that is going to lead to a double kill for Nightfall. And Sumail now surrounded by enemies. Gets off the Blade Mail, but it's just a matter of time. Attempts to TP, but they have plenty of ways to cancel that. Kiyotaka gets credit for another. So 3-0. Aurora favored again.
He actually died to the Yules. He got
really?
Yuled at like 10 or 15% health, but the rum was ticking while he was in the air, so he died from the landing damage. It's pretty rare nowadays to see that. It's 50 magic damage, but got the job done there and then.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Now a tier 2, in all likelihood going the way of Aurora.
Yep.
And I mean, how much more can they get with this Aegis? There's a tier 2 bottom and top still remaining.
I think as long as they have all their spells ready and they keep good formation, they can take whatever they want with their Aegis, including even the enemy high ground, but they have RP on cooldown, so they're not going to go there. But the tier 2 towers, I would still imagine, are within their grasp, at least one of them with this Aegis. But let's see if the high ground is on the cards here. Considering how Nightfall is sticking around this mid area as much as he is, it does feel like that's the plan, that they want to find any sort of pick-off here and then just go for the base. And there's the smoke.
Aghanim Scepter.
Tokyo into it.
And Kiyotaka toss back onto Sumail, gets off the Shivas. Getting clipped by the Ice Path. Gets the Tidal Wave onto Tiny. Now the open wounds from Ghost are going to try to apply as much pressure to the Tiny as possible, but the global silence, and now the fight has changed places. Nightfall, nobody wants to deal with him because he has that Aegis. Toronto Tokyo, the beautiful skewer with the Avatos to follow. Epicenter a little bit late, and now the BKBs come out. Panto, the lone casualty for Aurora as GH gets deleted. Noob currently infested, currently tossed, and soon to be currently dead. Nightfall gonna clean this up. RP just for the Lifestealer. Does not have Infest to work with, so this should very well be a team wipe. Trying to give it to Nightfall, but Kiyotaka takes it with a toss. 5 for 1. And guess what? Aegis still there.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, they have the glyph here to wipe out the wave. Oh, wow, okay. Our Aurora actually is going to fall back. No, it's just the Tiny going back. I'm a little bit surprised to send Tiny back to defend out of all heroes here because he does pose quite a bit of building threat. I suppose he doesn't have his shard. So, okay. They don't even get the tower. I'm
That's
surprised.
surprising. I mean, the death timers are a bit low as well at the moment.
It's fine. I don't mind it. I think showing discipline is obviously a good trait here, and it would be a mistake to overstay. It just took longer than I was anticipating.
Imagine Aurora with constant discipline. Just imagine the possibilities for this team.
Well, the ceiling is high, that's for sure. And I wonder what they're going to do now. They know they're ahead. They know they're far ahead. They might not realize it's almost 20K, but these players are very experienced, so they should have a feeling of at least we're crushing. So I wonder if you're planning to just map control until next Roche, or if you are going to be eager to just fight because you feel like you kind of are in an unlosable position almost. Can be a bit telling about teams, how they approach situations like this. It can be just as telling how you play when you're absolutely destroying your opponent as how you're playing in a close game about the overall team mentality is. Knowing Aurora, I don't think they're just going to sit back and farm for next Roche. I think that's something you would more likely see out of a team like Falcons in a game position like this. I think Aurora's DNA is more of, all right, guys, we're owning them. Let's try to finish the game. And that's what's costing them games sometimes.
Yep.
And it's also what's making their average game time short sometimes is that, well, they
horn
convert on it all
toss
the time.
into the RP, and the damage from Nightfall. It is enough. Thought he was going to get the infest off, but not happening. 50 seconds of no Lifestealer, 5v4.
The wave mid on the way, and this time there's no glyph.
And this time they have Mr. Tiny with the damage rune as well. And they're going to find a Tinker on the way. And this should be Elena Rax at the very least. You're right, Kiyotaka's still without the shard. It's a bit awkward, I guess.
It's kind of standard for mid Tiny, though, right? Like, is it worth spending 1,400 on that? Maybe sometimes. All right, first lane of the game. They can't get more, but the 2 tier 2s on the side lanes are still up.
Tower is under attack.
Call it a win and TP back. And start going to work down bottom with Nightfall. So maybe just going to push this through and try to get that tier 2 tower without the Aegis. He obviously has Satanic, so he's feeling extremely powerful. If they don't 100-0 him with an Epicenter, he genuinely cannot die. I think that's the only way this carry will die from Aurora's side. It's full on dropping everything on him perfectly with Global. And even then, it could still go wrong. He gets a little bit lucky. You might not kill him off fully, and he'll pop BKB Satanic, hit you twice, and be back to full. And then the fight's over.
Well, Nightfall's actually prioritizing MKB for the Radiance, I suppose.
Yep. Fine. Pretty standard.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Figured he might go Basher. I guess they do have plenty of stuns.
They have
though.
so many stuns, yeah. I think this is a better purchase overall. It doubles against laser as well, right?
Yeah, true. And the 25 level talent for Sand King, which we will not be seeing this game. Prediction.
Yeah, and if he were to get to 25, he also wouldn't pick it, so...
True.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because he has MKB. You're right.
Yeah, that's definitely why. That 25 talent on Sand King has got to be up there with the best talents of the entire patch, right? The 10 Epicenter Pulses one is incredible.
I don't know if it would make top 10, I'll be honest.
You don't think so?
I'm not saying it's not good.
It's really good.
There's insane 25 talents, though.
The thing is, the way Epicenter works, the pulses get bigger every time, right?
Yeah.
So that's why this 10 extra pulses isn't just,
I feel like it used to be 8.
50%
It
more
used
damage.
to be 8 back in the day.
AoE is obscure.
Yeah. It's
And
obscure.
That's the wrong word. Absurd. It covers almost the entire screen when you have the 25 talent. Absolutely obscure. As is this smoke.
Desperation smoke from NGX. Sumail leading the way. They need this to go perfectly. It doesn't look like they'll find anyone, though. And yeah, we'll see about Roche. Could spawn in the next minute and a half. Now we have a counter smoke from Aurora. Okay, Roche has landed.
I mean, this is very telegraphed, right? From the side of Nigma Galaxy. Aurora knew this was going to be an attempt. They're not showing anyone mid. The wave is pushing through the...
And another smoke from NGX is Toronto Tokyo. Ooh. Actually had a good opportunity there, but they have the toss back onto 2 with the Avalanche. And now the fight's a bit segregated. Global Silence goes off as Ghost in a battle against Kiyotaka, just kiting, waiting out the Global Silence. Now the Avalanche comes in. Nightfall deletes Yamich. There's the skewer onto 2 with the RP to follow. Wheel of Wonder, why not? 3 dead for NGX. Noob Epicenter is not even going to be cast. GG's called. Aurora dominating game number 1.
Yeah. I mean, that was... I'm not going to say this one was always going to be easy, because I don't think so necessarily, but I think this was most...
With Cinderin, we got game number 2 between Aurora and NGX. The panel hates their draft. Do you agree?
You are not paying attention at all.
No, Misery said some nice things at the tail end, but for the most part, it was a bit negative.
I mean, okay, let's be honest. I think the last game was on paper harder for Nigma Galaxy than this one is. I still overall favor Aurora, but there's definitely more achievable ways for victory here, the way I see it. I think this is a game where Morphling can truly carry, potentially. It's a game where Sumail is in a position on a hero that he can snowball the game on. I don't think Kunkka is that hero. I think Leshrac can take over games, especially together with Elder Titan for the amp. And overall, I think their lanes are going to be fine. My big question is, how are they planning to kill Nightfall's Medusa when it has Stampede backing it up? That's my biggest question mark here for the side of Nigma Galaxy.
Yep, I would agree with that, Cinderin.
Could get slept here.
He will get slept
here.
He will be slept-walked.
Could get shackled here.
He is dead.
They skilled Ethershock. They don't need shackle.
Panto will take it. On the other side, Sumail gets the kill on Kiyotaka, not in time for the first blood, but still nice for Sumail, which talked about, later in the game, not the greatest matchup against the Medusa, but yeah, what what could you possibly itemize? Like, the first thing we think of course, is Diffusal, but like Windrunner is not a core here.
I think she should maybe still buy it, though.
You think so? Okay.
It's either that or you go the full, we're going to Kite Medusa route, and then you buy stuff like Shard, Yules, and your job in the fight is literally just make heroes unable to stick on Lesh.
Yeah.
When they want to play aggressively. And I think this is a game where there's something to be said for Gale Force, potentially. I think it's a very good item against Medusa to have that Shard. But if I would like to personally see if Yamish is doing well, I think he should buy the Diffuser, actually. I think it's worth it. So, we'll see. Bottom lane on paper is not that easy, though. Double ranged, Medusa Bane. Yep. Tough task.
Feels bad clicking a hero and their health just doesn't move. Very demoralizing.
Yeah. You didn't know what was going on, and it would be.
And we'll see how fat Nightfall can get this game on the Medusa. Definitely a hero that can... I mean, it's not really a hero that buys BKB, Cinderin.
No.
All too often.
He's not going to.
It doesn't really fit into the Nightfall repertoire. It's Mira.
He's going to Stone Gaze TP out this game.
Yeah, that's a new variation, I suppose. And GH not going to catch up, but still packing a punch onto Mira. Use those chicken fingers. Still, I think, one of the best facets or innates in the game, Cinderin.
Specifically because you like chicken fingers.
No, it's just really good.
Oh. Yeah, so are chicken fingers.
I mean, that's true. That's true. They are.
Speaking of GH, would you agree that this has been his most impactful hero as of late? I think his Elder Titan has been...
Well, I actually wanted to... We can piggyback off of that as well. Do you like him? I mean, he's playing 5, right? Traditionally, back in the day, he was the 4. He was the best 4 in the world for a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you miss that aspect for him?
I think this patch, the way it works, I think the type of impact he had back then is achievable in position 5 in this patch. So I don't really
You do get a lot more farm.
Yeah, and if you play heroes like ET and Phoenix, which are some of his best, you can do a lot as a 5 IO. You can do a lot with, in some cases, I think you can play Caudal 5, but we haven't really seen that too much. I think that is probably the least viable of his traditional repertoire. Yeah, overall, I mean, it's obviously a little bit of a different dynamic now that you have a stand-in on position 4, right? Like, they had the potential of grabbing themselves a 5 stand-in if they wanted to, and then put GH on the 4 roll. They opted not to do that.
Yeah.
Probably to keep the Ghost lane intact. And their overall assessment was it's more viable that we have our stable safe lane that we are very comfortable with rather than restructuring both lanes.
Well, Mira might be in some trouble, although Ghost, very little HP to really connect, and Toronto-Tokyo has basically been going back and forth on the harass battles, but supports, you could say the same.
Yeah, interesting to see Toronto-Tokyo starting build heal the triple gauntlet. I can't say mathematically that I love that against Morph. I think it has to be better to buy at least 1, maybe 2 circlets, just because your hero has terrible base armor, and Morph hits really hard, so just getting a little bit of agility actually goes a long way. Just get 1 more armor helps quite a lot. By the way, it's got the Ring of Health now. It's probably going to be fine. Oh, they get the Shackle outside of the shift.
Yeah,
He's
the hook
dead.
stomp to follow. Wow.
Oh,
Mira gets the kill.
Not supposed to happen.
That is pretty crazy. Noob and Yamich, in the meantime, getting harassed heavily, but they will barely survive. Yeah, I just assumed this would be effectively a dead lane in terms of nobody's going to be dying, at least not on the NGX side, especially the Morph.
Yeah, the only moment of opportunity you have is until GH gets Echo Stomp, which will probably kick in at level 4. So this was when the kill was obtainable. Once that's there, you can never retain your shackles, and you can always just stomp the Centaur too. So just finding this 1 kill is really good for Aurora. This is not a lane that I would say on paper they're meant to win. They could probably draw it. These are not bad Morphling matchups in lane. Find the quick one, though. Sumail up to level 6. Against
Tokyo getting dove, but GH not going to go any further. Vanguard almost done for Toronto. Meanwhile, Sumail in that mid lane, sitting on 30-5 versus the 33-3 on the Storm, so pretty close. Not too big of a surprise.
Nice power shot connection there from Yamich.
Yeah, it's a bit of a dive here for Sumail.
Mira with the 2 points in Hex.
Interesting.
Quite a lot of time to create distance there with the 1-2-1 build. We'll get away. Oh, this is... Yeah, Noob has the perfect creep for this lane, by the way. It's actually pretty important in the bottom lane that Noob managed to find the Satyr Soul Stealer. Mana Burn does so much damage to Medusa. It's got to be the best hero in the game to have this against, basically.
Yeah, Sumail gonna get some help with Yamich to be able to take out Panto. As he did take out the regeneration rune, so denying that from the NGX side.
That would have been nice for Sumail. A little bit starved on resources right now.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on Lesh in general right now?
I don't think it's the best. And just as a general pick, I don't think it's particularly strong right now, but if you have very good matchups, I like it. There's just nothing in this game that made me think, hell yeah, this is a Lesh game.
Yeah.
So that's curious for me. But sometimes player comfort and just what you feel can make a really big difference.
I feel like we
always
saw a
about
fair
theory.
bit of it, I want to say a month ago when we were casting, and I did not notice the other facet ever getting chosen.
No, it's always Mythanthropy. Every single time.
Basically not a push hero
No.
anymore, at least not for the tower department.
No, not really. What else would you push?
They're gonna... My buttons as
Yes.
NGX will
Mythanthropy is
push
good
their
for that.
buttons and get the Smoke of Deceit into Toronto Tokyo, level 5, so no Stampede to work with, although
I don't get him yet.
well, he's going to connect with this wave and will be spotted as a result. Still, this is a pretty tanky boy.
Lesh can solo him 100-0 if he doesn't hit the stomp.
Oh, stops for a little casual right click, and that's where Sumail's Diabolic Edict can really go to town. And that's going to be an easy cleanup for Sumail and company.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Meanwhile, bottom lane, actually getting the mana a bit low onto Nightfall. Going to take an Infernal Blade for his troubles, but Mira has come to play with the Hex, and Panto, coming from the east, should secure this kill onto Noob. And Nightfall dodging the power shot.
Don't you just love when the carry buys 2 nulls?
Yeah, that's good.
What a time to live in.
Kiyotaka's going to have to zip away the amp damage rune. Oh my god, I actually said that. Damn.
Good job.
I told myself I would never say that, and I did it.
You got there.
The damage rune. Stolen by a GH.
Next on the docket is you calling the hero Abaddon. Then we're...
What about Windrunner?
Yeah, okay. Wind Ranger. If you get all of those right in one day, I would honestly be impressed.
Okay.
Considering that you think the right thing is wrong, that's probably not going to happen.
Well, I didn't say it's right. Gorgon's Grasp onto Yamich. We'll be able to walk away. Panto, nothing left in the tank, so just getting a couple of right clicks.
Mira does arrive with this very early level 6 here. There's the Serpent wards. They could go for a ward block, and I think they just might.
Yeah, nope, he's going to get caught out. Oh, the
Good
shackle
shackle.
preventing the
Very
initiation
nice.
from Mira from continuing, and now we have TP from Sumail. Remember, Nightfall? A bit low on mana, only 5 stacks on his wand. He'll be exiting, though, in the cover of the Tier 1, and they actually get a D-ward as well.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
So the rotation here unsuccessful for Sumail for now.
Are scanning.
But he might just choose to dive this.
It's possible, Noob. You're going to take the wave with him.
I think this is when Leshrac shines the most, is the bottom Tier 1 tower for Radiant. It's like you literally just run into these trees and body people. But you need to have the confidence with some sort of information that you can get away with it. And of course, the Stampede can be problematic.
They find the Nightmare, though. Noob in a lot of trouble. TP's coming for him, or coming for help, but he is stuck inside a bunch of Serpent wards, and the Echo Stomp not going to really assist too much. So easy kill for Mira and company. How much do you, when you pick a Medusa, this was first pick Medusa, how much do you care, just in theory, if the enemy takes a Bane? Because you chose it for your side. Fiend's Grip drains mana. Theoretically good. Is it actually good in practice, though?
It's all right.
So it's not really something you think about.
It's one of the better ones, but
Just want to see like how much of a deny pick was this potentially, you know?
I mean, it could have been part of it, but at the same time, Nigma Galaxy had already picked ET, I think, and I don't know if they would play Yamich on 4 Bane. I guess he could have played 4 ET as well. It's not out of the question.
Yeah, Noob. You know, he's got his Doom available, but he gets nightmared. Man, just can't find a clean initiation. So we'll have to exit again without using that ulti. Sumail with that haste rune. We'll see how much damage he can do with it.
Yeah, that's good. This negates the Stampede for the next play. So potentially, Nigma Galaxy. I think this is a really good time to look for a play bottom. I'm actually forcing the Edict out of him here.
Yep, not too far away from Atos for Sumail.
Radiant structures are fortified.
His farm is okay, basically a wash in the mid lane. I mean, how good of a start does he have to get off to this game, do you feel like? Like, how much pressure is on Sumail to keep things afloat?
I think quite a lot. Let's see if this even breaks out into a fight. I think you might just concede this tower as Aurora and not, yeah. I think it's a great play call there. And anticipating Sumail's rotation with the haste runes, just going to give it up. I think it's really important that Sumail is popping off this game. I think if he has a bad game, I think it's really tough for Doom and Morph to win this game without a strong Lesh. He's getting all the power runs though. That's good news. So it definitely is important, but a couple of his rotations didn't bear fruit, and he has lost some CS because of it. It's good enough.
Is this normal? Boots of travel? Storm?
No.
What the hell is that?
I'm gonna go ahead and say no. That is not normal.
That, I don't think I've ever seen that before.
What? Why? What?
Well, we'll see soon enough.
Wait, have I missed some meta development here?
I don't know. Maybe. Maybe we both have.
Is he playing Divine Courage?
Blade Mail on Centaurs. The fight's going to break out here. Sumail with the Atos reveal, Diabolic Edict, but the Nightmare to counteract this. Now Stampede, as Panto will be stuck in no man's land, taken out by Noob.
Dude, why does he have traps on Storm? Am I stupid?
Well,
is he stupid?
That's a separate question.
Okay, one at a time. You can start with, am I stupid?
No, as much as I hate to admit.
Oh, wow, that's...
The Observer thinks so, though, so that's good.
I can't believe you said that. All right, I'm curious. This would be my number 1 question to ask if they were to win in a post-game interview. Hey, Kiyotaka, why did you start Travels in this game on Storm?
Yep. Extra mobility. 14-minute wisdom's about to come.
The thing is, you'd think this is actually a farming loss on this hero, right? Because most heroes that buy Boots of Travel use it for 2 things. First of all, to traverse the map faster and farm, and the other thing is to connect to plays. But Storm farms more with Mana Regen than with move speed.
Yep.
So it's just peculiar overall. He seems to be going for pretty standard follow-up items here with the Kaya into BKB. Perhaps there's something to be said about the overall archetypical way that Aurora are looking to play the game. The panel was talking about this, like Bane hiding at nighttime, trying to catch people off to the sides. You've got Centaur with Stampede. Maybe the overall idea is we want to skirmish you, and we want to be able to catch you all over the map and have constant threat. Of course, travels are good for that, but he has nothing obvious to travel on. There's no like summons hero or something that can enable it. The next level play here would be Toronto Tokyo buying Helm of the Dominator. Then I'm on board.
Kiyotaka spending most of his mana to catch up to GH. Will get the kill as Noob comes in with the help of Yamich, but the Stampede try to get away, but the Focus Fire looks to be too much. And that's going to be a 1-for-1, but the Fiend's Grip from the other side. And that is a dead Doom. Still, I think, has yet to use his ultimate this game.
Yep.
2-for-1 advantage Aurora. Sumail and Ghost on the high ground.
I just realized GH is level 5.
Yeah, that's true. 15 minutes in. Panto, he's going to take the brunt of the damage here. That's going to be a quick kill for NGX, but the zip in from Kiyotaka onto Sumail, but the shackle onto 2. That is a dead Storm Spirit. Kiyotaka taken out as Yamich. They're going to try to go onto Toronto Tokyo. He's got that Blade Mail and Vanguard, so very tanky indeed. Looks like they might be able to finish him off. And on the other side, Sumail versus Nightfall, they're both going to exit. And that power shot finishes off Toronto Tokyo. And now the Rasta in peril, but Mira on the cover of the tier 2 will survive. Yamich has to go to the west here. He's going to find a shackle.
Life is peaceful there.
And this will be a cleanup for Aurora, but they lost a lot here. Noob's going to force a TP out. Kiyotaka will show himself. He still wants to get that Doom off, but yeah, that's difficult. I mean, maybe that's why he got Boots of Travel. He can just walk away Syndrome from Doom.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to zip in, but they get the Atos into the split earth, and there's the Doom. The Boots of Travel not fast enough.
That's why Boots of Travel, because when he respawns now, he can get out to the wave faster.
Yeah, probably.
I guess he just didn't realize Sumail has Atos when he made that move. It looked like he was jumping in and he was going to Vortex and then he was going to jump again. Just got Atos in between. Smart.
Yep.
Okay.
I don't think he's referring to his Boots of Travel purchase. All right. Now this will open up Tormi for NGX.
Yeah, Morph is good at this.
Who will get the shard?
In Dota.
Will you get Gale Force?
Oh, no.
That is unfortunate. The 50-50 is lost.
Sometimes lucky, sometimes unlucky.
It happens to the best of us. Okay, Kiyotaka is going Lincolns as well now, so my theory's out the windows.
Yeah.
He'll be able to walk away and block Doom.
This is starting to look more and more like a Merlini item build. He should have just bought the Midas after Travels. And
he still has time.
Yeah.
Dire's bottom tower
Peculiar. Let's call it that. I mean, the Lincolns, it makes sense against Doom and against the Shackle Shot.
And Atos.
And the Atos, yeah. It's going to buy you time. I think it's honestly a fine purchase. I'm really not a Storm expert whatsoever in terms of like mana conservation and damage. Whether Lincoln's feels terrible to buy, but
yeah, Ghost at a tier 1 is going to get initiated on. The Fiend's Grip is there. Do they have the follow-up damage? It's going to be close. Yes. Hex in time. No attribute shift. Down goes the Morph. Down goes the tier 1.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
I feel like Kiyotaka has been tipping Noob 3 or 4 times now.
Yeah, there's some bad blood here.
There's something going on here.
I mean, I feel like you can close your eyes and doesn't matter who's playing. Just assume there's bad blood between someone.
And maybe Kiyotaka doesn't like noobs. Probably it.
I mean, that's the Dota elitist mentality anyway.
Yeah. Everybody should be tipping noob off cooldown.
Looks like he's going for the Crimson. Has Drums Midas. What do you think of the Doom facet these days? We talked about it early on. I think it's been a lot less exciting than I was expecting.
I think Devil's Bargain is still generally the best one.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying,
there's not too much creativity. I think the player that uses this the best is probably 33, who will sometimes shuffle out 2 or 3 or even 4 items later in the game. He just does the math and is like, okay, now I kind of need this because of the new problem the enemy proposes. So I think it's a really theoretically interesting one, but in most games you end up using it maybe one time, and that's generally sell Midas, buy other item.
Or sell early stats related stuff.
Yeah, like Brazers. Then it's not too interesting. The really interesting thing is, oh, I have these items. Oh, now they bought this thing that counters me. Now I'm just going to rebuild myself.
Into the Shackle, Focus Fire as well. Good Hex though from Mira, provides a little bit of space, and Kiyotaka gets away.
So does Mira if he TPs now. That Atos is not going to see him. So nice disengage.
Much more even game at the 20-minute mark. I think it was about 15K deficit.
It was about over.
Yeah.
Last time around. Nightfall going to take the Amplify Damage Rune and go to jungle with it. Very nice. always a good time.
Radiant's top
Farming
tower is
faster.
under attack.
Yeah, it's a quieter game. I think this just strategically, when you look at the lineups, it just makes sense that this game is being played in such a different fashion. I think ultimately when this goes down the stretch, I do like Aurora's chances because of how they can itemize themselves out of some of their problems. Whereas for Nigma Galaxy, I'm not seeing the red thread in killing Dusa yet. The Wind Ranger's going full utility. She went Atos into what looks to be Blink Shard. Are they going to commit on this? No, they're getting
They're forcing TPs out, and they do so successfully. Drums pop.
Mission.
Mira might be in some trouble. Yeah, Atos from Yamich. They will get something out of it. Serpent Ward's placed, though. A bit annoying to traverse around, but
he's actually
this
gonna
power
live,
shot.
Oh my god.
Yeah. The Blink Dagger ends up working out. And
Actually got out.
well, it costs him an ultimate, but not too shabby.
That's crazy.
And Butterfly now there for Nightfall. He is, yeah, compared to the Boots of Travel on Kiyotaka.
They're going to make a move of their own. I think this is a pretty good move in terms of how unexpected it is. You just disengaged bottom. Your Dusa has just been showing Manta Illusions top. So there's a decent chance that Nigma Galaxy do not anticipate an invasion. But unfortunately for the side of Aurora, Nigma were trying to go for a move of their own to kill Medusa. So both teams are going to miss each other. Unless go... Oh my god, he almost killed himself with that TP. That is really lucky. If he TP'd 1 second earlier, they would have seen the ring, and they would have camped him and killed him.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Game of seconds sometimes. Well, that's going to be an opening
initiation
somewhere
onto
else.
GH. Yamich is here, though. Going to get shackled for the time being, but they want Sumail. Gets slept into the hoof stomp with the Gorgon's Grasp from Nightfall. Pops the Bloodstone for Sumail, healing up a decent amount. This is going to be close. Looks like he will fall to the Stampede, and now another full duration shackle for Mira. This time on to Noob. Pops the Essence Ring, but I'm not sure if they want to focus him because the Morphling is the one nightmared. We'll get out of it, though, into the waveform. They're going to focus down the Doom to start things out. A beautiful shackle onto 2 from Yamich. Only biding a little bit of time. It's just too tanky on this Centaur. Can barely put a dent in them. Mira even lives. 0 casualties for Aurora.
Valiant effort there from Ghost, showing off his Manta Diffusal build against the Medusa, but not quite enough. Nightfall with the Butterfly is able to stay alive. Gets off a 20, I think it was a 20 wand into a snake. So he healed himself up that bit further. And Morph just couldn't get through him. And this is what can get problematic. Because if you're itemizing like this on Morph right now and you're not finding kills, you should, over time, fall further and further behind the Deuce since she has more cost-efficient items for farming speed. With the Manta Butter, she will just outpace you a little bit on your Morph. You're also going to need to get that True Strike, right? That's the problem here. Is Morph going to buy MKB? Is he going to buy Bloodthorn? Deuce is one of the better heroes to buy Bloodthorn against because she generally doesn't buy BKB. So if she has burnt her Manta, you can try to take her out.
Well, this is good for NGX.
Nice play call. Clean.
Lincoln's now online for Kiyotaka.
So this was a real choice between him and Lesh, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely used to seeing it on Lesh.
Both heroes very good with that. What do you think about Bloodstone? I don't know, man. This item feels like a shell of its former self to me.
Yeah, you no longer get the AoE.
It's like generally only Leshrac that I see this item bought on, but even on him, I don't know how much I like it, to be honest. You're holding it up against... Sumail could have gone for like Shiva's BKB, right? As an alternative build path. Obviously, you can't get both of those items at the cost of a Bloodstone, but you can get either of them. I don't know. It's a bit deceptive.
I think it's good if you're off to a good start.
Yeah.
Which I would argue that they're not off to the best. Stone Gaze from Nightfall going to buy some time for Panto to come in to get Split Earth. And will drop immediately. Is Nightfall now on the run with the Stampede. He'll get out of dodge. See how much they can get out of this Aegis on to Ghost.
Mira did not complete the TP, and now he's under a ward. So he should just be 100% dead here. Even if he gets a blink off, he still can't disengage fully. He just spotted by Spirit. He is toast. Easy kill for Ghost here.
And now he's going to say there's a ward here, and we can see that that ward is expiring soon. So even if they try to de-ward, not going to be too great for the side of Aurora.
Radiant's top tower.
So I do kill the supports, and I guess you get the top tier one here with Ghost on the Morph as well. You still have the Aegis for 3 minutes. So yesterday, Nigma were in a position with a Morphling, I believe it was, that game where they were up a lot against Liquid. And they ended up losing it in the very end against the Drow. This is obviously not comparable at all in terms of net worth, but you are approaching the time of the game that Ghost Morphling tends to really pop off in some fights, and then sometimes Nigma will hesitate to try to end the game and go high ground. I think this game is really difficult to end, actually, for their side. Sieging high ground into supports like Bane, Shaman, and then 2 jumping cores in Storm and Centaur. The thing that makes that so tricky is having good formation in your lineup. There's no obvious way of placing your heroes because you can get flanked, you can get jumped from all angles by Storm Centaur, the supports have long reach. It's definitely going to be a challenge for Nigma, and I don't anticipate, especially based on their hesitancy yesterday to go high ground. In this game, we're at least looking at the next Aegis before they even think about it. And that, in turn, should buy plenty of time for Kiyotaka to get further. Is he... Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Lincoln's pops, and he is out of there.
All right. What do you think Kiyotaka has in his quick buy?
All right, I
You
see it on the screen.
You saw it? That's
Yeah.
unfortunate. I was hoping you didn't see
Well,
it.
I wouldn't have guessed nullifiers. You're safe there.
What?
I mean, that gets rid of Windrun,
Yeah.
and is that it?
Is there any... I mean, they have a
obviously
Force Staff on ET.
the items go without. In terms of abilities, I think that's it.
This is such a different build.
Maybe
I love seeing stuff like this. I love the creativity. The thing that's just a shame is when we don't get to hear the rationale. I think it's really cool when pro players talk about specific builds they did for a game. Because this is absolutely unusual, to say the least. I just wonder what the thought process is if he does end up committing for this. Yeah, it's good against Windranger, like you said, but is that really enough to justify going Nullifier 3rd on Storm?
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
No, after your travels, Lincoln?
Well, it gets rid of Crimson,
Dire's
right?
top tower
Yeah.
is under attack.
And obviously, you said the Force Staff.
There's always going to be something Nullifier's good against, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, there's typically always a Force Staff. Or a Yules or something.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
Kiyotaka.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
I feel like Noob has not gotten off a nice initiation with the Doom yet.
how many Dooms have been cast?
I think 1, if I'm not mistaken.
Under attack.
Kiyotaka forcing out some abilities here. Yamich has to be careful. He's just dead. Assassinated. As Ghost, okay, that was a bait. And there's the Doom, and there's the death. Stampede a little bit too late. Wouldn't matter because of the stun lock anyway.
And ironically, I don't think that Doom mattered. I think he was dead anyway.
Yeah.
I think he was out of mana, basically being burned out from the Morphling Diffusal Blade, and then the Infernal Blade stun was...
Yeah, take a picture of this inventory and post it on Reddit. As Panto is going to be
guess
found
the
in the
hero.
trees. Sumail, going to miss the split earth, but the Pulse Nova doing its work.
Okay.
Nice kill for NGX to follow up on the kill onto Kiyotaka.
The Leshrac Shard this game is really good against Medusa.
Radiant's
It's a
bottom
very static hero. Doesn't move too much in fights. Likes to just stand and deliver.
Yeah, but now
And
Ghost
with the
has a
split
butterfly.
shard. Yeah. I mean, they're definitely getting there. By no means is this is remotely close to the last
Inferno
game.
Blade onto Toronto Tokyo. Will pop his Blade Mail. 3 versus 1 right now. TP's coming in as Ghost is destroying himself at the moment. Wants to finish off Toronto Tokyo. It's going to be close. The adaptive strike is not enough.
Oh.
Now he has to waveform to the low ground where the rest of his team awaits.
That was a fraction of a second away from him getting hexed by Shaman. Very, very close escape. Should count himself lucky there. That was definitely not planned out to a T, but managed to escape. Kiyotaka, long zip.
Yep, Mira's there as well to follow up, but GH Force Staff,
Nice.
Noob survives, and now that's a wasted Serpent. Wards as Sumail goes in really deep. They're going to get the Rasta at the very least. And the drums are there for extra movement speed as well, but I don't think they're going to find anything off the back end now. Still a couple minutes away from the earliest spawn that Roche could appear.
Sharon, I have a challenge for you.
Uh-oh.
Name a hero that Kiyotaka's build would be good on.
Boots. So basically,
I'm not, okay, to clarify, I'm not saying it's terrible in Storm this game. I'm just saying what would be a hero. You see this build and you're like, huh, I could see myself buying that on
that's
this
why
build.
I said you posted on Reddit.
It's like literally, I can't think of a hero that would buy these items normally
Radiant's middle
as
tower
in
is
combination. Like,
I mean, the thing is, the Boots of Travel, like in a pro game, is unusual, but in like a pub, any hero could buy Boots of Travel.
Yeah.
It's mainly Nullifier with Lincoln's Kaya. That's very random.
It genuinely looks, I'm not even kidding, now it looks like a Divine Courage build. For anyone unaware, is this, oh, hang on, he's dead.
Yep, Boots of Travel not going to help out this time.
He's running fast, Shannon.
He
Don't
is,
count him out.
and he did use the Nullifier. Unfortunately for him, it will spell his doom. No pun intended.
Put in pup. Did you ever play Divine Courage?
Back in the day.
So the way I remember it was you would roll a random hero and then you would roll a random item build and you had to build it in order. And then there were a couple of extra items you were always allowed to buy, like bottle, stick, boots, I think.
That
but
sounds about right.
Everything else you had to do in some order, and this build just looks like something out of that. Oh man, it's funny.
Yep, I would say it's working, but not really yet. Still puzzling.
That's the other thing, is like, if he was popping off and just crushing, we'd be like, hell yeah, you know, I love this creativity. But when it fails, it's just, you're always going to have this second guessing it. You're like, what if you just bought standard stuff? Like,
well, when it fails, it saves the pubs around the world.
right.
Radiant's middle tower.
Except for the sickos that look at it and like, I'm trying that, even though it did not look good. There's people like that.
That's true.
Radiant's
And if this goes south for Aurora, they can just all look at Kiyotaka together and just point at him. And then this is probably good for morale because Toronto, Tokyo, and Nightfall will be on the same team in that debate. Can find a common enemy.
That's true. For one
Stampede offensively.
initiation, they're going to take out the Windrunner to start. There's the Nullifier being put to good use from Kiyotaka.
Oh, he's chasing for
Nice split Earth. Beautifully done. They had the follow-up stuns as well, and another death for Kiyotaka. Boots of Travel wasn't enough for... I'm going to have to... I can't help myself every time he dies.
That was a sick stun, though.
Yeah,
Just flat out full prediction. Sumail was anticipating that Kiyotaka was going to zip another time. If anybody knows aggressive Storm play, it would be Sumail himself. He's been in that position plenty of time.
No, I don't think
Read him
he's
like a
bought
book.
Nullifier Boots of Travel.
That's true. I have not seen Sumail with this build.
And you know he's judging right now.
I'm trying to think if I have ever seen 3 of these 4 items in the same inventory on a hero in any game, including pubs. Lincoln's, Nullifier, Travel,
I'm
Kaya.
sure if you go into the pub archives, it exists somewhere.
Of course.
But it's going to be quite a different rank.
Yeah. All right,
Serpent Wars placed, and that's going to be easy money.
Easy money.
And
Oh, Sumail's on the hunt here. He's got a haste rune.
Very fast.
Easy
Atos
kill.
to open things up. Gale Force as well. Mira is super. That a
How
nice
did that
shackle.
latch on do so? What?
Completely ignores every tree and goes for the Snake Lady instead. But you see the Fiend's Grip onto Sumail. Noob on his way to try to clean up the Bane. They'll do so successfully, and Sumail will walk away. So 2 dead for Aurora, and there's the Doom. But see the Stampede giving a little bit of space, but the Atos going to hold him in place with the Split Earth to follow. Kiyotaka using that Nullifier to take out the Windrunner, but the Toronto Tokyo is already super low. Double kill for Sumail. They're going to get the Medusa on top of all that. That's 80 seconds of no Nightfall. Kiyotaka, your Boots of Travel are enough to get away just this once. 4 dead.
Shout out to Boots of Travel.
And now NGX in the base of Aurora.
Radiant structures.
And Morphling can push really fast. Has to be a bit careful, though, with the HP department. At the moment, they're playing a little bit safe. Kiyotaka can keep going for the zips. Of course, they're not as fearsome because he has a Nullifier Boots of Travel.
In spite of being arguably one of the best carries in Dota against Doom, Medusa, once you are doomed, if people can just stick on top of you for a few seconds, you are going to die. Like, Ghost hits way too hard, and the Lesh matchup, BSJ was talking about it, it's not a good matchup into the Medusa, but in any sort of situation where your team is ahead in the fight, I can't imagine it being that bad. You were one of the highest DPS heroes in the game.
Kiyotaka. No, not low enough.
Nice
He tried. Did not use Nullifier during that zip.
Yeah.
They're just keeping track here.
Yeah. Also didn't use Boots of Travel during that zip.
That's true.
You can't do that anymore.
Wait, you can't?
You can't.
Really?
You can't travel during zip,
Wait.
right?
Why not?
Can you?
What, you can TP during zip?
Oh, you're right. It's the Earth Spirit roll you can't do during the roll.
I was going to say, there's no difference between a regular TP
that's
and a
true.
Boots of Travel.
That's true, so he could have done it. I got it mixed up. He's got Kaya Sanj.
Okay.
Well, he had the Kaya before. Both items are normal.
Well, now it's a purple, bluish build, ignoring the Boots of Travel, of course. Maybe the color scheme is important to keep in mind here.
Big lead for Nigma, though.
Yeah,
14K. Ghost has a 4-minute Aegis and a banner. Okay, now we can actually reference that game for real, though, the Liquid game, where Nigma Galaxy were hesitant to go high ground. Have they learned from that game?
Gonna have to hold that thought. Sumail is the one taking most of the initiation damage. It's Toronto Tokyo as well, but the focus fire is enough to take out Panther to start things out. Sumail staying alive, but not long enough.
He's doomed on Storm.
Doom on
He's
Storm,
dead.
has the Boots of Travel to try to get away. Not gonna use the TP, though.
Can't help
And
yourself.
Nightfall trying to right-click
out
this
of mana
Morphling
now.
inside of the Serpent Ward, but this
That's
is
a
an
good stomp.
Aegis carrier. And they might use life number 1, but this is going to cost Aurora heavily. A nice, beautiful shackle onto 2. GH with the Echo Stomp to follow, which is extremely good against Medusas. Ghost will clean them up very easily, and they're just going to town in Aurora's base. That's a buyback onto the roster. They have 1 on the Centaur as well, but your buildings shall fall.
I mean, it's actually game over if they go for Throne.
Yeah, they're going to try it. The Hex is there for Mira. And again, they do have the Centaur buyback, so they could go for this 3 versus 4 since Sumail did drop, but the tier 4s are falling so fast. Noob goes in with the Blink Dagger, but Toronto Tokyo is there to try to save the day. Unfortunately for them, they have lost Mira. Now the Echo Stomp to slow things out as the buildings continuing to fall. Ancient exposed for Ghost. He's just objective-based gaming. And Toronto Tokyo, 1 more sleep for the road. And I think I can confidently say Boots of Travel, Nullifier Storm, 0% win rate in Pro